Oh, Barancho, you poor dude. So, Mortal Kombat 12, or 1, you want to be weird. Um, of course, that came out a month ago. And what I said I wouldn't really do any more videos on it because there's not much to cover. The game has no content. All the updates are shit. Everyone's basically already covered all the criticisms I can make because it's no longer a hot take to hate modern MK anymore. Because this game has a bunch of egregious bullshit. And one of the biggest things to me it was in the story, and you have Madame Bow, this lady here. And to clarify straight away in this video, there is nothing bad with this character. She has a fun personality. It's a distinct personality to Baraicho's, admittedly. You know, she's a bit more strict, I should say. How she gets angry at like Kung Lao because he's not keeping up with his training or whatever. And you know, there's just a lot of fun scenes with her when she does show up, like all three of her scenes. You know, she gets yeeted off a balcony and then just casually gets up and then just starts smoking. Like, fucking hell, she's a badass. But the main problem is more so to do with the lore than the character itself. Because, again, she's a fun character. I don't have any real complaints besides what she replaces. And she replaces something even better. So, yeah, it's not an actual, oh, which character is having. Fundamentally, Boraicho is a better character because he's made several appearances. Like of course, he's the superior character. But it's not even to really compare which one's like the better personality or whatever. Because that's all that is to compare besides the lore. And in the lore, it's pretty similar in terms of story role. The difference here is Madame Bow is an Earthrealmer, whereas Baraicho is, of course, an Outworlder. That's a significant difference. Baraicho, he is insane to me because clearly Madame Bow's role, she is the new master to Kung Lao and Raiden. Raiden is essentially just Liu Kang now, which is dumb, but that's a whole side topic. Which, of course, Boraicho, in both timelines, or sometimes are a bit different when it comes to Kung Lao. At least seemingly, I don't really think it's clear, but basically in his debut Day Alliance was how she trained Liu Kang, and then Kung Lao goes to be trained by him. Presumably Kung Lao had not been taught by Boraicho beforehand. The NRS games, he just had taught them both, which he might have done before. Again, it's just weird wording that makes it unclear in the original timeline. So it's cool either way. And yeah, he's just a significant character who had a significant impact on the two main Shaolin Monk characters' lives. And it just goes beyond that. You know, this guy in Deception trained Li Mei, trained Shijinko, Shijinko in the past. We get like tutorial trainings with him, several ones. And then, you know, he basically raises Shijinko in his own home for most of his teen years. All of his teen years, I think, from 13 to 18, whilst training him so he's ready to go out and about and adventure the realms, essentially. So yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of cool stuff. And Li Mei, he saves her life after the Deadly Line storyline. You know, they try and put her soul in one of the Dragon King's soldiers. Baraicho saves her, evacuates her from the area, and ends up training her, and that helps Li Mei get a whole arc, I suppose, where she goes from this inexperienced young warrior to being a more experienced, better trained fighter who is a big part of the Outworld army fighting against the Dragon King's army. And that's all really cool stuff. And Rachel just has such a key role in all of it, and it's just really awesome. He's easily one of the most well-respected characters in the lore. He's very much beloved, and he's been a very consistent character. MKX, I'll show you all the design. Dead Icy side off like this. His design carries over as his deception hole. A very cool look at the character. And yeah, he's introduced, in his conquest, his personality is a bit different to what we know him as from Deception. And it's because he is used as more comic relief in his debut game. He makes a lot more jokes. Honestly, unfunny ones. I don't find his conquest mode to be funny. But even that aside, he made a great debut. And clearly he left an impact because he comes back to the very next game. He is one of only 6 characters to be a mainstay of that trilogy. And in Deception, he just plays such a crucial cast. I think his Deception ending might be the best ending in the entire franchise. There's some real fucking beautiful story stuff with Baraicha. He's an awesome character for the lore, and the thing that's caused a bit of conflict in how fans perceive Baraicha is mainly just his moveset, which has always been fun, but it's just certain special moves, and basically only one in the 3D era, his puke puddle. So he does vomit stuff. He has fart attacks in MKX, farts were his Deception fatalities, and wake up animations and stuff like that. And yeah, it's really silly. I was just paired with the fact that he's a fat man, and he got this whole drunken master thing. And Dad's clearly supposed to be a comic relief character, but he's so much more than that. And it surprised me about how so many people can't look past that. And some people just find it fun anyway. I personally, I think, in terms of moveset, I think all those attacks and bolts like that, they've been done cleverly. I think the puke puddle's a fun stun move. And he has this fart stun attack in MKX. It's really stupid. And, I don't know if he's meant to be stereotyping drunk people or fat people, whatever. It's strange. It is very much peculiar. It helps make him stand out. But yeah, you could probably ditch that part of him. The drunken mastering can stay. That's a pole martial arts style and whatnot. But yeah, probably get rid of the farts and the vomit, I suppose. But it's not the end of the world. He's not just taking shits on people. He's not farting on people in the story. I think MK Fantasy, they just need to fucking lighten up. There's a lot worse jokes in modern MK that people just go, haha, funny. Kaino's basically a borderline pedophile in the MKX comics, and no one bats an eye to that. So yeah, this guy farting and vomiting in his moves out. That being your deal breaker, that's on you, I guess. But he's really not an unpopular character. I saw a poll, I don't know by who, but it was asking if Baraicha should be DLC for the game. And the most voted option was 100% we need him. That was what the option was literally called. And I had the most votes. Of a few thousand people, I think. And I had a comment here, which got 150 plus likes, right? I don't do that to flex. I don't care, but I think it shows how this is not a hot take. People really like Baraicha, and I specifically talk about how it's fucking stupid to try replacing him with this Man in Bow character. And I had a lot of replies saying they 100% agree. And none of it was really anyone shitting on the character of Man in Bow. It's just what she represents. What she represents is the same stuff Baraicha represented. She just replaces it. It's an unnecessary addition that is actively inferior. You know, like if Man and Bo debuted in Deadly Alliance, and then we had this new random dude called Baraicho, I'd feel the same way. It's just a matter of what came first at that point, and what we're used to. Because we have 4 games Baraicho. Again, he was a mainstay character for a bit. And he was the very second 3D era character to make a return to the modern era in MKX. And I'm not counting MK4. MK4 doesn't really count. I'd say the characters are basically mistreated on the same level of 3D era. But that's basically just Jarek and Reiko. The others get plenty of showcase, really. So it's kind of just those two. And Meat. Meat's another one. Who became like an actual character in Armageddon, but people don't really consider him, which is a shame. But yeah, this is a dude who has been pretty popular. Besides Kenshi, he probably is the most recognizable, the most iconic 3D era character. I'm not going to say the most popular because, again, he's a bit of a polarizing character because you have people who either love him or hate him, essentially. Because you had people hate him because fat man who farts and pukes, right? Which a lot of people don't even look at like the moveset thing. They just see a fat guy and go, oh, that's stupid. Which, that's a dumb take. I like having different body types in MK. You know, give me some fucking variety. You know, it's a lot of very dumb takes. Very simple. The reason why people dislike Retro is always very simple, and it's usually nothing to do with his story, his personality. Something that's very consistent throughout his design, even. His design's a bit more on the basic side by MKX, but it's still of the same style of what you'd expect Baraicho to wear. His personality is basically completely retained, even in the MKX comics. He's the most faithfully redone 3D art character. He's great in MKX. Because you just get more Baraicho, right? You know, like he calls Predator an ugly motherfucker. Brilliant, 10 out of 10. Like, I don't need anything else. His moveset keeps all his stuff. It keeps his monkey flip. It keeps the belly bash. They keep the vomit and fart stuff, even though that's the whole thing, which I respect. Again, it's something that I don't mind ditching either, because I don't really think it fits the character. It doesn't really make much sense. I suppose vomiting, because he's a drunken guy, he drinks a lot. Sure. The fart's just really goofy, though. It don't make sense. But anyway, it creates a fun moveset. It's not like a canonical power or anything. Like his main thing is he knows all these martial arts, you know, including Drunken Fist most notably, but also Jujutsu with his staff. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff with Baraicho. And he's got a lot of cool special moves, like the monkey flips, like the belly bash, where, you know, he's using his size, but he's still very agile. Again, if you just had some, like skinny dude, this skinny master dude, like, you would not be able to create the same iconic moveset or the same distinct look for a character. You really wouldn't. So it's very strange. Because, I mean, this is MK1, this is the game, right? That's kind of been pushing for a 3-hour return, which of course they've conveniently done at the game where they're retconning everyone's story. And yet you basically erase Baraicho, is what it seems to be happening. It might not be the case, that's why I want this video now, because it's not even about MK12 specifically, it's kind of about the future of the franchise. Because I'm worried that Madame Bo here, who, look at his concept art, she's a bit chunkier here. Again, it's leaning more towards, this is a Baraicho replacement. Sneakers aside, I don't know why she's wearing that in his concept art. Like, this is quite a Baraicho design as well, in a way. So, like, and of course the name, Madame Bo, like her story role, her name, this design here, it's clearly trying to copy from Baraicho. And she's overtaken his role, and Baraicho has no other mention. He's mentioned once in the entire story, and this is a character who, even when he's not playable, you know, MK9, MK11, he still gets a bunch of cameo stuff. Yeah, here with cameos as a whole mechanic, he doesn't get to show up. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you could have just given Boraicho Madame Bo's role in the story. You wouldn't have to change much at all. Maybe make the tea house Boraicho's brewery, which was a motor combat track. You could just give him like a regular like pub, I guess. Or you could just keep the tea house because I'm pretty sure he serves alcohol there anyway because there's like a drunk guy in the chapter and he's fun. That's another fun character. Because I like the idea of like having Boraicho, and he's just like he just got like a restaurant or like a bar or a tea house, whatever you want to call it. I like him owning his establishment, like that's kind of cute. So you could have given him that, and I don't think anyone would question it because that feels like something Boraicho would do. And yeah, the only real significant difference is this is an Earthrealmer woman, and that's about it. That is literally it. Outside like a few different quirks. And yeah, I would just had Orochi take her role, and just made him a cameo instead of the second Kung Lao. Why is there a Kung Lao cameo? I couldn't tell you. Like, real dumb idea. Like, you guys had him in chapter 1 and stuff, because he's one of those characters that people, again, he's more of a story-focused character. His moveset's always been fun, regardless of any controversies regarding his special moves. He's always been a very fun moveset, but he's one that is more respected in terms of story and lore. So you could have had him as an NPC or, given him a cameo. Having an NPC is really daft when you have an assist mechanic. I'd argue Madame Bo should have just had a cameo herself if they were going to introduce her. And yeah, I don't know if I'm being rambly here, but I think it's quite clear that Boraicho could have just had a role because it's the same thing with a few detail changes. But she's more faithful to Boraicho than a lot of characters are faithful to themselves in this game. So it's very odd. But yeah, like I don't get it. I don't get it because Boraicho's obviously the more popular character. He's well known. Like even casuals know about Boraicho. If you've played any of the games in the 3D era, you know Boraicho because he's one of the main characters. Period. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy how this game that's made a push for your characters seems to be phasing one of the most important ones out. And I think that's the wrong move, and the damage is kind of already done because you can introduce him now, but he'll have to undertake a completely different role. I thought, they're going to establish he's an elder god because, Liu Kang's actual canon ending, he's an elder god now, which I think is a dumb role for him. Make him a protector god of Outworld, maybe, if you want to give him god status. But sure, that's kind of cool for Boraicho. But we don't see the Elder Gods, which means he might be one of them, but he's never mentioned at all. So outside of like a Tanya Miramatch style where he's like the Emperor of Outworld in like an alternate universe that doesn't mean anything. So there's no mention of like this universe as Boraicho, which is weird because characters like Movado and Kai get mentioned. Kai's a master himself. It's super weird because there's these new Shaolin initiatives, and now there's Raiden and Kung Lao training him, including Shijinko. Shijinko's being trained by him, and Master Kai is already like he's not a new initiate. He's already this experienced master who's probably more skilled and knowledgeable than Raiden and Kung Lao themselves. Like, it's super strange how you've done all that, yet Boraicho himself, the actual master who's trained so many of the Shaolin characters, nowhere to be seen, not mentioned at all, and yet there's Madame Bo here. And I don't think Madame Bo's an actual gender swap of Boraicho because they'd still use the name Boraicho because it's a made-up name, it's not tied to a gender. So I don't think that's the case. But it's very clearly just like if you want to talk about characters who are clone characters, and people make claims that like a bunch of characters are clone characters, and none of them are true. This is one of the few cases of a genuine clone character in Mortal Kombat. And again, that's not a knock on Madame Bo. That's just fundamentally what the character is. She is a clone of a character, and she is basically just replacing him, taking his role. I don't know what the future means, because Madame Bo herself is very popular, because she's a fun character. So I don't know if she gets to become playable at a later point, or what. But either way, it seems like Boruto is just being faded out, and that's why I think a lot of people want Boruto to be DLC, because they want that assurance that Boruto is still around, because people like Boruto. He's one of the most respected characters in the lore, so trying to erase him from the lore has to be one of the dumbest decisions this entire story mode has made. I really don't get it. And it's not even just this movie. This game. The movies have done it. The MKX movies. That focus on Raiden being Liu Kang's father figure, with no mention of Boruto in Battle of the Realms or Scorpion's Revenge. Which, Raiden's only father figure to Liu Kang, sure, but Boruto probably raised him, because Boruto's the one who's always there, helping out the Shao and helping out these villages. Again, Shujinko lived under his roof for many years. Like Boruto is a father figure to so many characters. So, again, why would you erase him? Of course, Boruto, best friends with Raiden, pretty much. Fujin, too. He's just a lovely guy. And all the heroes like him, they respect him. Except Johnny and Cassie, but they're assholes, so... Yeah. He's just a nice dude. He just wants to help everyone out. And that was a consistent thing with the original and current timeline. And now he's just gone. And I don't get it. Because I feel like even more people started to respect and appreciate the character by MKX, which didn't actually change anything about him. Some people will say, oh, MKX made Boruto cool. Like, no, it's the exact same character. The reason he's so cool is because he's faithful to what he originally was. So a lot of people came around to actually getting a taste of Boruto in a modern MK game. And now he's just being faded out again, which is super weird. Because again, the people who's complaining about how he's gross, though, he's a worthless character, yada yada yada, all this nonsense, because they can't take a joke, they're the minority, a vocal minority. But if you ask about Boruto, the majority of people will say how he's a really great character, and that they'd love to see him again. Because Boruto is, again, one of the most respected characters in the franchise. Again, I think he's one of the GOATs. I think he's a top 5 character in the history of MK. Absolutely. He's awesome. And taking him out of the history of the franchise could be one of the worst things you could do. Like, of all characters to get rid of, and I don't think you really should get rid of any. Even Kano, I think, has a place. Boruto is absolutely not one to get rid of, because he's connected to so many characters, and just replacing that with this random tea house woman who's fun in her own way, but does not carry the history or the legacy or the lore of Boruto. It's a real shame. I think another example this year, a lesser example, but you've got this Chuck character, Charles Golden. He is the first genuine newcomer to the franchise since MKLM itself, I think, which is kind of nuts. And essentially he's like Johnny's assistant and like his bestie and whatever. And then at the end he becomes a motion capture star. He wears Mocap's costume. So he's basically a Mocap replacement character. The difference here is Mocap himself, actual Joe character, doesn't have much going on. So this one's less egregious in that sense. Like Chuck here has a lot more characterization and a lot more screen time than Mocap ever did. But at the same time, you're losing a lot of the charm in Mocap, because the whole point of Mocap is he is a Carlos Bacina reference. He's paying homage to this legend in in motion capture for Mortal Kombat, and a guy who still works on it now because he essentially mentors anyone who does mocap for the modern games. So he's a real important guy to Mortal Kombat. So kind of getting rid of that with this different guy. Of course, it's a black guy now. It's not Carlos Pesina, which is strange. Of course, I wouldn't have an issue with race swapping a character to get more representation. You know, I would find that neat in the majority of cases. Here, however, you're kind of losing the whole point. To the extent that I don't know if we count this as like actual mocap or a different character who's replacing mocap. It's really unclear. Like, if mocap shows up again, is it going to be this guy or the actual game's mocap? Because really, if this guy just looked like Carlos Pesina, you know, I'd probably say that, yeah, it's mocap. So I don't know if it's just, race swap mocap, because he didn't have a canonical, like, official name before. I think even a wiki updated to actually just take this as canonical information for mocap, which is dumb, but sure. Because the only thing that really conflicts is his appearance. I mean, the assistant laws wouldn't fit into the original timeline, but sure. If that's how him and Johnny first meet, then sure. Because he's like the third main character behind Ash and Johnny, which is kind of wild. And he's quite a fun character, actually. So again, he's a character I have no real issues with. It's just kind of strange, because it feels like you could have just been the regular character. Here, though, I don't know if he's meant to be the regular character, just with a completely different appearance. Which again, changing that appearance when it's meant to be. The whole point of his appearance was it's meant to look like Carlos Pesina. Like, that's a head scratcher. So that's the whole thing. I feel like detail that just because I don't think many people know about it, because no one really cares about Legends movies, and rightfully so. But that's a curious other example that's happened this year. So I don't know if we're going to get more of this, where essentially a different identity is replacing her. I mean, I guess you could say Kuai Liang's basically replaced Hanzo. So I guess that's another one. Like, it's really weird. I don't think any of these go over well, because you're changing the identity of a character, and people who like the character, people who care about the character, are already attached to this other person. And it's not necessarily like, oh, you have two of them. It's like the Spider-Man, right? Because you have multiple of them. No one's being replaced. Each is a separate character donning the same mantle. Even then, you can still have that, and characters not in coexist. Sub-Zero is a great example, because it was Bihan MK1, and it just became Sub-Zero, became Kuai Liang as Sub-Zero in MK2 onwards. But then you make Kuai Liang Scorpion, and that was a real head scratcher. That's where it gets really goofy, because, mascot of the franchise, known as Hanzo Hasashi for over 3 decades, and you just suddenly take the guy who's most known as Sub-Zero, and you make him that, even though, Kuai Liang used to have a mantle of Tundra, and you could have done that. You could have just had Hanzo be Scorpion, because the only reason they had Sub-Zero and Scorpion be brothers is because they turned the rivalry into a sibling rivalry, and I guess they think that's more personal. I don't really think it matters. You could have just had the Sub-Zero cameo be Tundra, and you still have Kuai Liang around. Because again, they're cameos. You could make them story NPCs then. They could have their full lines and whatnot. Smoke basically feels like an assist in that stuff, because he does fuck all. He doesn't even get to be your assist in the fight with Bihan. He just watches. So those are, I guess, also relevant examples. But yeah, this is one that hurt me the most, because Boraicho is just such a fantastic character. And again, very well respected character in lore. I don't know why you try replacing him in a story setting, because Man and Bo is not a playable character. It's not like they try replacing him with a more appealing character gameplay and appearance-wise, because she's an old lady. I think Boraicho is more credible than her, but, you know, is what it is. Again, I don't dislike any of the characters I mentioned here, but you can't have these two coexist, really, without saying, oh, Baraicho is like an elder god now. I essentially written him out anyway, because how often do elder gods show up? Not much. They don't show up in MK12. And they're the true gods of useless, because they do fuck all. And I don't know why they don't do anything in MK12, because the one being doesn't really exist anymore, because he created the realms, and now it's whoever has the hourglass. Like, I don't know if anyone else knows that, but they've kind of just phased the one being out of the lore, which is really weird, because the Keeper of Time literally overwrites any lore about him. MK is a mess right now, basically. Like I could go from comparing these characters, and I can go talking about the fucking creator of reality in universe. So a bit off track there, but you know, yeah, it's just weird. We are in a very weird time for the franchise. Quite a scary time, because I don't think things are getting better. I think this is the start of another downhill spiral for the franchise, especially with Warner Bros. You know, at the helm, and they have stupid ideas like, oh, let's make it live service, even though it's a full price game. Well done, Warner Bros. Well done. Another side tangent. But yeah, basically, you can't have these two coexist because they share the same role. It is what I mean. You'd have to change Madden Bo's role. So, like, if you were, let's say you were doing your own MK story, you know, you're writing a fan fiction, which, by the way, for my fanfic, MK Reborn, Madden Bo is not showing up. One, it's too late to have her just show up. And two, again, I don't roll for her. The ideas I've seen to have them coexist is you make Madden Bo Baraicho's wife, which, I mean, I've always headcanoned Baraicho to be asexual. That's a headcanon at the end of the day. So you don't have to follow that. That's just how I've perceived him. And also, I just can't imagine him going out with an Earth Realmer. I don't know. Obviously, because they have different aging patterns, and that makes it a bit weird. But usually, the Earth Realmer's Baraicho interacts with are his own students. You know, he's usually a parental figure to like every Earth Realm character he interacts with. So it's kind of hard for me to imagine, but I suppose that could work, depending on how you did it. Because Baraicho hasn't been mentioned at all, that idea wouldn't. You couldn't just thrust that in as lore in the next game. That would be too contrived. Because you've already established Manabo trained Raiden and Kung Lao. Like she's already taken Baraicho's role. So you bring him in next game, and the damage is already done, right? So I guess you could say this video is pointless because what's happened, but I would take Baraicho just showing up again, for sure. I don't want Manabo to get this crazy amount of focus to the point where she happens to become a playable character or something like that. Because if we get to that point, then yeah, Baraicho would probably be truly replaced at that point, and that would be very sad to see. An idea I had is you make Madden Bo Baraicho's mother. You'd have to make her an outworlder for that, but there's an idea. She's just an old outworlder. Regardless, if you were to establish them both, and they have to be connected because of how similar they are. And yeah, it's just weird. I'd rather just have Baraicho on his own. I mean, he's much more compelling. Obviously, he's much more iconic. He's much more recognizable. And there's no real defense for it. There's no actual justification on Madden Bo here. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't really have anything else to say. I think that's the final point I wanted to make. But let me know. Give me your rants about this, because it's more of a vent than anything. I just find it quite dumb, like I do with most things in this game. But this point, it's a real head scratcher because I can't even think like NRS and try and think why they did this, because I thought they liked Baraicho, they brought him back. You know, and they kept him more faithful than any of the other three characters when he came back. So I thought, oh, they actually like and appreciate Baraicho. Maybe not. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.